Yeah, and I'm glad I quit, and I know that it might scare you a little bit knowing that it's only been a year and a half for you, but I believe you can do it.
No, I mean it's gotten so much easier. I'm not worried about it at this point. Like I said, I couldn't string for me for a long time. Me trying to get a week together was like this huge triumph, and it because I was trying to get sober for that entire 2.5 years. Like I knew it was an issue, and I just couldn't stop. So I feel pretty solid with where I'm at now, and pretty secure in that.
Yeah, it was the same with me a month before I quit, actually. I just remember being caught in the act of drinking soda by my guardian, my mother in this case, and she finally said to me, Douglas, you're heavily addicted. I've done all I can do, so I'm just going to stop trying. And I told her, that's a good thing because I'm never going to get off the soda. And then, sure
Yeah,
enough, 1 month later, I have like 4 consecutive nights where I don't sleep very well. And it's because of panic attacks. It was panic attacks and anxiety levels. And I had drinking a lot of soda during that day, which by that point it was 2 liters per day.
Jesus, dude,
Yeah,
that is wild.
yeah. And so that meant that the addiction was worsening. And by the time I entered my fifth night, I went to bed knowing that panic was going to set in, and within 30 minutes, it started to happen. And at that point, I just realized I'm done. This is ridiculous. So I got out of bed and let my mom know that I was quitting on March 6th. And you can imagine she was just like, yeah, here we go again. But she did support me. She
Yeah.
did support me, but she was just sort of like, yeah, let's see how long this attempt lasts this time. That was her thoughts. But she got a video of me dumping out the soda. And from then on, it was freedom. I mean, there was still withdrawal, but within 6 months, 7 months of it, I felt way better. I dropped all that weight.
I
And
was
by the
about to say, I bet you felt like a new person not having all that sugar flowing through you. That's
Mhm.
wild.
It felt like freedom, and I felt way better than I ever had in years. And I was in such a good place that obviously the soda addiction had caused a lot of relationship problems, especially since I had stolen sodas from people in the past to support my addiction. So there
Yeah.
was a lot of fences I had to mend. And luckily I never have sipped 1 ounce of soda since then, but occasionally I've had a nightmare where I'm binging on it in my nightmares. Then I wake up at 3 in the morning and I'm just like, thank God, thank God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't have a problem with those nightmares by the way of me drinking soda. I think that happens to remind me, to not go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope you're doing good with your life since then. What have you been up to lately?
Got a lot going on. So while, because I got into college about a year, it was less than a year after, I was about 9 months after I shot myself. I was back in college, but I was going for clinical psychology and found out along that path how inaccessible the digital world was because I'd learned how to use screen reading software and I've even kind of mentioned to you like in us trying to get this thing scheduled, I've had issues with the Messenger app. Like I can't access links in there because it's not accessible. Um,
Mhm.
so actually I hit a point where my college coursework wasn't accessible either, and I started researching what caused that. And long story short, it led me to discover that the ability for my screen reading software or other access technologies to operate is all dependent on the code that developers have put into all of the user interface stuff that you see visually. They also can take specific steps and implement specific strategies to make those things accessible to these technologies. So I wound up dropping out of college and teaching myself how to code so that I could become part of the solution. And now I'm an award-winning software developer making stuff that is accessible for everyone, whether or not they have a disability. So I started my first business doing that and won a couple of awards for my work. I'm currently working on another software project that will hopefully spawn a true startup and solve some of these issues that I was having in college for other people with disabilities and people without disabilities. It's cutting edge technology that will work for everyone because I'm taking those steps that developers can take and applying some of these same practices and implementing these same things that I've already built in my first set of software. But doing that, like I said, I'm sober and I've written a book. I'm almost done with the second draft of it right now, and it's a memoir that dives into my whole story from everything that I did wrong that got me to the point of trying to kill myself and everything that I've been through since and all of the lessons and both struggles and triumphs that have come with that. I do a lot of public speaking now as well. And I've recently launched my own podcast called Going In Blind with Zach Tidwell, and that's doing really well so far. So I'm staying very busy between those three things and also very active. I think I told you earlier before we got on here, I was in the middle of a workout when you asked if we could bump up the timeline, but I lift weights 6 days a week and go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes 5 days a week. But I also ski and rock climb and whitewater kayak and skydive and surf and am going to be hopefully getting ready here to compete in another Jiu-Jitsu tournament against people without any disabilities here in the next couple of months.